I thought I had it all together, but I was led astray the day you walked away. You were the clock that was ticking in my heart, changed my state of mind, when love's so hard to find.
It's been a rough year.
From clear to gray, all that time of day, how can I go on with
I have not touched my YouTube channel since I'm too lazy to even look up the date, so let's just forget about that. I am back. Things have just changed. I got a job. I'm leaving that job now. I'm married, so as of June 15th, and I moved out. I am actually in my own apartment. Yeah, 2018 has been kind of a crazy year too. Oh, lost my car and got a new one. But you guys don't care too much about that. Or maybe you do, depending on who you are. You are here for me to review movies. As far as what movies I really dug from last year, I can think of maybe 3.
Dumbass motherfucker.
Hold on, wait. God, okay.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay, so as far as actually telling you guys what I thought of movies individually, I'm just gonna tell you the ones I liked, just going based off of a list from IMDb, and I might link the IMDb list that I just randomly found. So, starting out, we've got Mission Impossible. Thought that was fine. I'd never seen any of the other ones. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is in my top 3 movies. That was the last movie I just saw in the theaters. Blows my freaking mind how good that movie is. A Quiet Place, pretty decent horror movie, not too long. It definitely was a good debut for John Krasinski, and I do think the acting, especially from Emily Blunt and even the kids, was really good. Let's see, what else? Deadpool 2, a good one. I didn't care that much for it when I first saw it, but watching it on rewatches, especially with the extended cut, it's pretty good. Ryan Reynolds was destined to play this character. Avengers Infinity War. Again, I'm really resisting the urge to put this movie in my top 5 because as a filmmaker, I would rather say, I liked some BS indie movie, but I loved Infinity War. Honestly, it is the best that the MCU is ever going to get. I'm really worried that Endgame is not going to live up to the expectations that this movie did, or it may be even better. Who knows? Black Klansman, again, one of those movies I didn't really care that much for when I first saw it, but then once I started, once I rewatched it, it kind of hit more, especially after I had more time to think about it. It was the ending that was really jarring for me, but I honestly would say I enjoyed it. David Washington, who's Denzel Washington's son, he did a really good job. Adam Driver, as usual, when he's in one of these movies, he's really good. Everybody did good. Spike Lee, I wouldn't say this is like a return to form, but he did pretty good with the source material. I just keep saying good over and over again, but that's what it was. The Incredibles 2. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot I saw this movie. It was a movie everybody anticipated, but they waited so long to put it out that it kind of just escaped my mind after a while, especially with things like Spider-Verse being put out, where there's creative, animation going on when you're watching it. It's kind of hard to say that you still like this movie, and I still do. Nothing's changed. The characters are still the same as how they have been. It's just, I don't know. I don't know why. I think it's just because they waited too long. It's kind of like when they put out the second Sin City like 10 years after the first one came out. It's the same thing with this. In kid form, obviously Sin City is a little too much. There's nothing bad for kids in it. I can't say it's a bad movie, it's just kind of forgettable. Let's see. Black Panther. The only thing I did not like about Black Panther was the CG. I mean, did you guys see those rhinos? Because honest to God, that honestly looked like some PS3, PS2 game. Probably like Zoo Tycoon or something. Other than that, I didn't really care that much for how people try to politicize it. I loved him in Civil War, and I still like him as, you know, a character. Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan, whose other movies on this list too.
Bozo, bitch, are you dumb, dum 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 dum.
He did a really good job. Absolutely, it was a fun time in the theater. Isle of Dogs, I did not get to see until it was on DVD. But when I watched it, I understand why people like Wes Anderson. I understand people actually like this. Some people actually still like Fantastic Fox a bit more, and I just recently saw that movie and only saw half of it before I fell asleep. Not in a bad way, I was tired. But it was a fine movie. Isle of Dogs, I watched all the way through, obviously, and it was good. So yeah. I only have one thing to say about this movie. It's game night. And what is so special about game night is not only that, you know, for a comedy, it's actually pretty well shot. This is the movie my wife and I saw with our friends right after I proposed to her. So, I mean, it has that personal tie to me, so maybe I'm looking at it a little more fondly than people normally would, but I thought it was funny. And there was a lot of creative shots. A lot of the transitions had to do with game board pieces, and I thought the action was pretty good too. It's better than most comedies, that's all I can say. Halloween, the remake. I was really excited for this movie with Jamie Lee Curtis returning. I had no idea Danny McBride wrote the screenplay. Apparently he's a really big fan of the series. I didn't realize that fact until after it, and it poses itself up to be having a sequel after. I don't think the sequel will be as good as this movie. It was a standard horror movie. The kills were pretty standard. Some gruesome. I mean, I was looking forward to seeing some gruesome kills, and I got that. As far as if I'd be willing to see it, you know, multiple times, like every Halloween, I don't know. I think the charm of the original one has, you know, a bit more to it than this one did. Just because it's so much a product of its time period. It works a little bit better than this movie did, because it was trying to be modern and still follow a teenager. But I don't know. This teenager is just, I can't say not as compelling as Jamie Lee Curtis's character, because Jamie Lee Curtis's character was kind of an archetype where she was just, you know, the virgin type, you know. It's hard to explain, but I thought it was fine. You could watch it on DVD and get about as much as you would have if you'd seen it in the theater. All right, I'm gonna do one more before the camera dies, because I don't want it cutting off and, you know, me not knowing about it, so I'll probably take a break after this. This one surprised me. A Simple Favor. Knew nothing about it going in. We just kind of went into it on a date night or whatever, and it ended up being a pretty solid movie as far as, you know, thrillers go. There's nothing too crazy about it. Paul Feig directed it, and I think this is a good movie for him to return to. I don't know if he directed anything else before, like in between Ghostbusters and this, but this is the most recent movie of his I've seen, and I liked it. Like, you know, the acting is really good with, okay, Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. They did really good. I thought the guy that played the husband did really good. I wouldn't even describe this as a comedy. It has humorous bits, but it's more like dramatic and like it's really, it gives me the feeling of watching reality television, which is never a good thing, but with a dramatic story, it makes sense because you know it's fake. Dramatic television is always, or reality television is just trying to make you think these situations are real, and everybody does know they're fake.
Goddamn hell,
the fact that this is fake actually works to its benefit. So I'd say it's worth a watch. I think it's on DVD now if you want to check it out. it's better than Ghostbusters, I can at least say that. Okay, so that already took a few days just alone between when I shot that first half of the video and to now. So I'm no longer reading off that list. I'm just gonna go ahead and list off some of the movies I definitely saw this year, or this past year. Bohemian Rhapsody, that was definitely something. If anything, I think Rami Malek's performance was fantastic. Like, he perfectly, damn near recreated Freddie Mercury. As far as the rest of the movie goes, I mean, it was okay. They definitely time hopped a lot of things for dramatic purposes, which I can't fault them for because it is a movie after all, and you have that creative liberty, but at the same time, it's just a bit inaccurate and kind of, you know, a big thing when it comes to being a Queen fan. But I mean, it was a fun time in the theater if you're just looking for some kind of story. The next movie I saw after that point had to have been, I'm gonna go ahead and say it was Aquaman, just for now. Aquaman was what it was. If you guys know anything, if you've paid attention to what the DC Universe has been doing lately, you know that it hasn't been all good. But this was fine. I mean, they could have did a hell of a lot worse in my opinion, so yeah, take that for what it is. The special effects are fantastic. Like, really, really, that is the best thing about the movie, is the effects. I really wish these effects would have been applied to like something like Black Panther that had the story that could have used it, because their effects were trash, as I just mentioned. But here, it's what's trash is the characters and the story. I think Jason Momoa did a really good job portraying a character that, I mean, I didn't want to have a movie, but he's likable, so I have no problem with him being in the movie. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. If you really aren't like picky about your movies, it's a fine movie. What else? The most recent new movie I've seen was Vice. And Vice was a movie about Dick Cheney. It was directed by Adam McKay, who did, like, you know, Talladega Nights and Step Brothers and The Big Short, which was, I guess, more of a dramatic film for him, and so is this one. But it's more parody than anything in some ways. I liked it. Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Steve Carell, I think Sam Rockwell was the one playing Bush. He did really good. Everyone, all the cast did great at transforming into these characters, especially Christian Bale, who played Dick Cheney himself. What I really like about the movie, other than, you know, some very good visual metaphors and the writing, was just that the whole thing had, like, you know, a very sarcastic sense of humor for sure. And when it comes to portraying someone like Dick Cheney, I mean, they made him seem like a very good father. He was a great husband when he needed to be, but at the same time, like, as a politician, he's a straight monster. I definitely liked how they handled certain things, like when it comes to the narrator of the whole film. What they end up doing with him was really, really good. I've read reviews for Vice, and they're not like super high. They're like in the 60s on Rotten Tomato. Go see the movie, because I honestly think it needs to be getting more credit than it is. I think Christian Bale won for Best Actor somewhere. I think for a comedy musical, which I still don't see this movie as a comedy, but I guess if freaking Get Out can be a comedy, then anything's possible. I think that's it. There's movies I missed. I missed basically all of the A24 movies I told myself I wanted to go see. Like what? Hereditary, mid-90s, 8th grade, all three of those movies. I'm sure there's more, but what else? Annihilation I didn't see, but I know that's, what's his name? Alex Garland, I believe. And he directed Ex Machina. So I'm gonna check that out. That's on Hulu. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. I'm back as far as today, I am back. So be ready, because this year should be better.